Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Hope everybody's doing good. It is the last day of the month, about to hit March 1st. Spring, believe it or not, will be here around the corner, even though it seems like spring has been here forever. We just got a little bit of snow. Finally, I have two huskies. One of them just experienced snow for the first time. So, finally. And unfortunately for my other guy, he hasn't had, much opportunity to enjoy the snow, but they got to get out there that time. But hopefully everybody's doing good. So I'm sure some of you guys work from home. Some of you guys probably had school canceled. So it was a good Tuesday. So before I get into this, just want to apologize. I had uploaded a video talking about Lita and Becky Lynch winning the tag titles and Trish Stratus's return. I posted that video yesterday. Um, I must have grabbed the wrong video and just reposted something on the Elimination Chamber. So I just reposted the correct video. So hopefully you guys can go and just check that out and hear the thoughts on Becky and Lita winning and what they're going to do with Trish at WrestleMania. So, as you guys are listening to this episode, it's going to be about Jeff Hardy. And you want to hear the Lita and Trish and Becky, just go ahead because I just uploaded it. So, again, apologies on that mix-up. I shouldn't do things when I'm half asleep. But like I said, this episode is about Jeff Hardy. We all saw the news over the weekend that his case is now behind him. He does have to do extra time. I believe he was looking at 10 years in jail with his DUI charge. And that's what he has to do. To me, it's not that surprising. I'm not going to say it's because he's a celebrity. And I know that I'm sure that's to everybody's, mindset. He is, somewhat of stature. I mean, he's not, George Clooney, a Ben Affleck, a Chris Rock type of celebrity, but he's out there, and I'm sure the judge looked at his history, and for whatever reason, just felt like, okay, let's not put this guy in jail. Look at his history. Jeff has been in and out of rehab, and I think perhaps the judge saw, okay, this is not somebody who, this is somebody who acknowledges there's a problem. He is trying, he falls off, he goes back, and, probably sticking him in jail for 10 years is probably not the best. Listen, I don't know. I don't, I'm spitballing here, but, perhaps the judge is like, listen, this is a guy who is trying but falls off, and should I really stick this guy in jail for 10 years? Is that really going to help him? Is that going to make things worse for him? Who knows? But the point is, Jeff is, for all purposes, a free man. Free from going to jail, but not free from his demons. So he does have to go to jail, but his license has been suspended for another 10 years. And I wonder, people who get their licenses suspended, how many of them really just keep driving anyway, but just try to be on their P's and Q's not to get pulled over? Because I can tell you right now, if my license was suspended for 5 years, I'm probably going to be like, listen, I'm just going to go to the corner really quick, go up the road, what are the chances? I'm not going to take, a road trip, but if I'm going to run, 10 minutes to the store, I'm probably going to get in the car and go do that. Just keep my fingers crossed that I don't get, caught. And I do something, I'm going to make sure I have my seatbelt on, make sure I'm doing the speed limit, make sure I have both hands on the wheels, I'm not looking at my phone, not doing something that's going to draw attention to me if a cop is there and say, hey, pull over, and then, your ass is in trouble. But obviously the big question is, what is the future of Jeff Hardy? What is his career going to be? You do recall, Tony Khan said, yes, he wants him to get the help, but he has to prove that he is trustworthy. He has to prove that he is going to be able to come back and not go back out again, not have this issue again. But how long is Tony Khan going to hold him to that? Now, as far as I know, and I'm pretty sure, Jeff obviously wasn't released, so they probably froze his contract. and he's going to have to, serve the rest of the contract. Now, don't know how long it is. Maybe it was put out there. I don't know. Maybe it was 2 years, 3 years, who knows. But Jeff is 45 years old. He's going to be 46 in August. Time is running out for Jeff. Is Jeff still in great shape? I had mentioned it in the previous video about how great Trish Stratus looks, how great Lita looks, how great Beth looks. I mean, it looks like that they don't age. Okay? Look at the other person I mentioned was R-Truth. You look at R-Truth for a man who's in his 40s. I mean, the man looks like he's in his early 30s. I mean, he looks like he's in great condition. And you can attribute that to, exercise, very good diet. And, I'm not trying to throw shade at Jeff, but, not doing drugs and, not drinking. You don't look rough. Now, Jeff, even though he does all this stuff, Jeff does look fairly, you look at his face, you can tell he's older, but, he does look good. But that's on the outside, how is his body going to hold up as he gets older? And if Tony Khan is going to be like, well, I'm not using Jeff in 23. Maybe I'll bring him back, the June of 24. Well, then Jeff's going to be going on 47. And I would think Jeff is not happy the way his career would end if he didn't come back. So maybe he have to work something out with Tony. If Tony's like, we're not going to bring you back. But then is WWE going to bring you back? I mean, now you're seeing reports now, I haven't listened to the podcast lately, but, Bruce Pritchard put something out there talking about the ups and downs and how Jeff, they viewed him as untrustworthy in WWE. And same thing with Jim Ross. He was just saying why Jeff probably was never turned heels because you couldn't trust him, that he would be committed. But then you look back and say, well, there had to be some window of trust because you put the WWE Championship on him. And you put the World Heavyweight title on him. Jeff is credited with helping get CM Punk over. They fought over the World Heavyweight title back in the day. That was, 2007, 2008? That they were going back and forth with that? I think it was 2007 that Jeff was working pretty closely with Triple H. And I believe it was Jeff Hardy versus Triple H versus Edge at Armageddon, either 2007 or 2008, where Jeff won the WWF title. So there was some window of trust. So was it like, okay, let's hurry up, pull the trigger, let's do this, then pull it off and see what happens? Now, I don't recall if Jeff had another issue after he left WWE, because he came back. Because when him and Jeff came back, that was his last run, when he was working with CM Punk and all that stuff. So I don't know if Jeff had issues then, and then Jeff went to TNA, or Jeff was in TNA before. I don't quite remember that timeline. But I just remember, I think the last time Punk and Jeff fought was that SummerSlam where Undertaker came back. So it might have been a little later than that. Because that's when Undertaker won the title again from CM Punk in the Hell in a Cell. And I don't know if that was 2009 or 2010. It's probably 2009. I don't recall. But anyway, Jeff was out of WWE at that time. And then he came back with Matt at WrestleMania. But are we going to see Jeff in the ring again? If we do, is it going to be AEW? Will it be TNA? Will it be, you can't say Ring of Honor because Ring of Honor is owned by AEW now. But as I said before, there is something in Jeff's life that he is not happy with. Because you turn to drugs, you turn to the bottle to deal or cope whatever your problem is. Now, credit to Jeff that he does go back to rehab. Now, you can say, well, it's not helping. But listen, we're not in that position, So it's not easy for us to say. But there is some trigger for Jeff. Don't know what that is. But if Jeff was to try to salvage what is left of his career, he's really got to stay on the straight and narrow. because you don't know when this will be the last time. And he's been fortunate that he's been DUI, but he hasn't hurt himself or hurt somebody else. He's been very lucky, but who knows when that luck is going to run out? And he hurts himself, or he hurts somebody else, or he takes himself out and somebody else at the same time. Now, Matt's saying that Jeff is in a great space, in a great headspace, and there's no reason to doubt Matt on that. I know people say, well, that's his brother and all that, but I don't think Matt would lie about that. That Jeff's in a better place, and maybe his problem is wrestling. Maybe Jeff should stay away from wrestling. Maybe somewhere in the wrestling business, that's his trigger. But as a fan, I would like to see Jeff back. And as a fan, I think we will see him back. Maybe we'll see him back at the end of this year. I'm sure, Tony will reach out to him, or Jeff will reach out to Tony and say, hey, I'm ready to come back. And they'll have some conversation. But taking the wrestling side out of it, I think Jeff should stay away, because maybe there's something in wrestling that's a problem for him. Was he happy? Is he unhappy he never got to main event to WrestleMania? He's always said he wanted to do a Hell in the Cell with The Undertaker. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Was he upset that he didn't take advantage of the opportunity he had back in 2003 when he did wrestle The Undertaker? Was there something in wrestling he didn't get to do? Who knows? Who knows what guilt, or who knows what burden, I should say, that he's carrying, that he's struggling. But the big question that we're all wondering is, will Jeff be back? And whatever else is left for him to do that he wants to do, can he cram it? Because he has a short window. Now, I'm not saying that Jeff can't wrestle for another, 6 years or so, where, he'll be in his, early 50s and stuff like that. I'm not saying he can't do it. Triple H, I think Triple H just turned 50, but, Triple H was wrestling late in his 40s. Obviously, we know Undertaker was. Look at Ric Flair. Look at Sting, even though Sting, clearly you can see he's limiting what he's doing. So I'm not saying it's not impossible. And, taking the drugs out of it, Jeff is like, Jericho, The Miz and Kane. When I say that, I mean like durable, You look at the guys in the business who've had these major injuries. Undertaker, torn groin, something in his knee, his elbow, his hips. Triple H tore both his quads. Shawn Michaels with the knees. Austin with the knees. Guys like John Cena, The Rock. Those guys hardly got injured. John Cena did get hurt twice, I believe. I think he had torn his tricep or something like that. It was on Raw, and I know he was in the match with Mr. Kennedy. It was definitely on Raw. Again, these years run together. It could have been 2006, 2007, and I remember, he somehow hurt himself. I don't know if Mr. Kennedy hurt him or not or whatever. And you see him turning to the ref, and you see him mouthing, "Is Randy coming? Is Randy coming?" And Randy comes in, he hits the ring, does whatever they're supposed to do, because that's what led to Cena coming back at the Royal Rumble. If you remember the Royal Rumble that he won in Madison Square Garden, that was the injury that he came back from. And then I think he got hurt again when he faced Batista, and Batista did the powerbomb. I think he hurt his back. But, Jericho really didn't have a serious injury that kept him out of, his career. And Jeff was like that too. Jeff didn't have too many serious injuries. So Jeff is very durable. That it's possible that he can wrestle into his 50s. He might have to change his style a little bit. We can sort of see he's changed his style already from what he used to be. But he could possibly change it enough now that he can to finish whatever unfinished business he feels. I mean, we all watched that pay-per-view, and we all knew that he was fucked up. We all knew that. And I know they're trying to say it was a concussion, but come on. I mean, even if he had a concussion, then why the fuck are you letting him go out there and do that match? I mean, I'm sure that image is burned into a lot of our heads. And there was a lot of plans, Young Bucks. I'm sure there would have been a match with FTR. I'm sure there would have been matches with the Acclaim. I'm sure you would have saw something with the Death Triangle. You probably would have saw something with the House of Black by now. Maybe we would have saw something with Darby Allin and Sting. Like, there was this endless possibilities and dream matches that you would want to see. That might be in jeopardy now. But what do you guys think is going to happen with Jeff? Do you think Jeff is going to come back? Do you not think he's going to come back? If he does, will it just be for a limited run where he just worked the rest of his contract and that'll be it? Do you think there's a chance WWE would take him back? To me right now, the next thing that would be WWE related with Jeff is him going into the Hall of Fame with his brother. To me, that's the last thing. I don't think WWE is going to touch him again. I really don't. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I don't see WWE take him. I think Jeff ends his career with AEW. Or somehow Jeff talks his way out of the contract and they say, okay, we'll just sever it. We won't pay you. That's it. Whatever you got, you're done. You're free to go wherever you want. And hell, maybe he may pop back up in WWE. But I just don't see that happening. But the good news is that, Jeff has yet another chance. There's a lot of people out there who do not get more than one. And Jeff has had several chances. And I just hope that this is the last time. And he can just focus on himself, focus on his family, and then go back to his career. But find out what is that damn trigger. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think? Do you think Jeff should never come back? He should come back. Should he go back to WWE, just do one more solo run, maybe get another shot at the championship and call it a career? Go back to AEW, have those dream matches with, the tag teams in AEW, retire, and then, go into the Hall of Fame with WWE. Let's see what happens. Again, as a fan, I would like to see Jeff back. As a fan, when do I think we'll see Jeff back? Again, you got to earn the trust back. And I don't think you can just get that back that quick. I think you're not going to see Jeff back until maybe mid to end of this year. If he's back sooner, I'll be very surprised. Very surprised. If we see him like in April or May, I'll be shocked. I don't think you'll see him, like I said, maybe August or the end of the year, but I really think that, because this happened in 2022. If I was Tony Khan, I would say, Jeff, I need more time. You couldn't do anything because you were in jail. Now you're doing your core stuff. Now you're back home. I need to see how you're going to do. And if I was Tony Khan, sorry, I'm not giving you credit for the rest of 20. I'm not giving you credit for that. You got to give me a year and a half. So I would probably tell Jeff, listen, you're not stepping back into my ring until 2025. And you need to stay clean. Clean and sober. And if you stay clean and sober, okay, then you know what? We'll talk in 25. I'll write the date down. I won't tell you what the date is, and then I'll call you. You're not going to know when I'm going to call you. I'll call you, in 2025, somewhere around that year and a half mark. I'll give you a call, see how you're doing, and if I feel like I can trust you, then let's do it. Stay in ring shape, and let's do it. And if that's something that you can't commit to, then maybe we gotta talk about how we let you out of the contract, and then you just go about your way doing something else. But that's the way you got to make amends. You got to prove it. Now I don't know how long he spent in jail. I don't know if he spent this entire time in jail while he was dealing with it. I mean, I know the article said that he was spending some time in jail. I don't know if he had to spend a week, 2, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, and then he bailed himself out. That part I don't know. I just know he did a little bit of time in jail. But I would just say you really have to prove it to me that I can trust, because it's a trust issue with Jeff. It's a huge trust issue. Big time. And I don't know if WWE was going to take another shot at him. And would Impact be desperate enough to pull him back? I don't know. I mean, to me, Impact is on his last leg anyway. To me, there's nothing. Does Impact even still come on? Are you even still around? I don't even know what channel Impact comes on anymore. Not that I ever watched an episode, but that's all I have for you guys. I just wanted to talk about Jeff and just, what do we think? What do we think is going to happen with him? But definitely leave me your thoughts and comments. Again, apologies for the last video. It's up now. You guys can check it out about Lita, Trish Stratus, and Becky Lynch. I will be back soon to sort of talk about WrestleMania. I mentioned it a little bit in the last video with in the women's with Trish and them, about how it just sort of seems like it's a little lackluster, this road to WrestleMania all of a sudden. But we'll talk more about that. We got the confirmation we're going to have Omos versus Brock Lesnar. Looks like we're going to have Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley. So I'm going to give my thoughts on that. So there'll be another video up before the end of the week. So just look out for that. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Have a good night. And again, leave me your thoughts.